Class, I'm not going to beat around the bush here. People did very poorly on the Paulson sources exercises. Now, look, I don't tend to grade your homework. I give you completion credit for doing it, and because it's a low stakes thing, it's practice. It's hopefully you get something from the practice of doing, these tasks. Okay. So I really only gave less credit if you didn't get it all finished, right? But credit's beside the point. The main thing is I'm concerned that when you start writing these papers that you're going to do a really terrible job with source use because most of you most of you did a really terrible job with source use in your homework. So I want to take you back, and I'm sorry for not putting that more delicately, but I feel like I can be blunt in this video and we can just get down to the business of improving. So forgive me for that. But look, you need to look at this document very carefully if you haven't already. I refer to it quite a lot this semester, using source material and avoiding source abuses. All right. I could read that. It's not exactly in your window. There it is. Now this is from, I don't know if it was from last week or previous week. But let me hit the highlights, all right? Quotation restraint. There's a starting point. Some of y'all used quotes in the summary and paraphrasing prompts for the Paulson source exercises. And that kind of defeated the point, right? Because I want you to get accustomed to putting your source content that you read in your own words, and just to prove the point of this thing, which I believe is implied. Look, they say these are the right reasons to use sources, and the very next thing they tell you is use restraint with direct quotes. And they say that because the writers of this textbook know that students just tend to default to the direct quote, and that's how they get any information into a paper. And it shouldn't be the way that it works, but unfortunately it is. And that's why I wanted you to get practice with paraphrasing and summarizing. So everyone needs to work on that a little bit more. I've got 22 students in this section of 111, and I think about 3 of you have it. Okay, but everyone else needs practice. I refer to page 477 quite a lot in the semester and in my notes to you guys, or my feedback. Here they tell you how to integrate source material within a standard body paragraph. And as you can see, they chose to use a direct quote, but they could have paraphrased or summarized, as you can see they pointed out here. And when you integrate source information into a standard body paragraph, it tends to fall right in this early half of the paragraph, because the expectation is that you're going to discuss that information that you just reported in the latter half of the paragraph. As you can see right here, there's a signal phrase. They gave an article title. I think you typically don't need an article title, but MLA does ask the first time you cite a source, you should be giving the author's names. Many of you did not give Roland Paulson's name at all, and I'd say about half of you didn't even spell his name correctly, which is like, what was going on there? But so give your signal phrase, and typically you need to give more than just a name. You should probably tell what publication it was published in, or what type of publication it is, or something like that that lets your reader understand why it's good information. And you need a signal phrase, an in-text citation to show your reader where you finish reporting information. Now imagine this wasn't a direct quote and we didn't have these quotation marks to denote that this was copied language, right? Well, if you didn't give the citation, well then I have no idea what information came from that source. I just know you began reporting here and you never told me where you stopped. You gotta have the citation to show the reader where you quit summarizing or paraphrasing, and usually it falls mid-paragraph. And after that point, that's when you're going to start discussing and breaking it down, or using that information and making it accessible to your reader. The next page tells you that very thing. Identify clearly where source material begins with a signal phrase. And then indicate where source material ends by giving in-text documentation. So you gotta have both, okay? Pretty much nobody formatted the block quotations correctly. This is how you do that. So just please do your due diligence in rereading this particular resource. A big problem I saw too with this was quote prompt 3 using the block quote. A lot of people follow the block quote with like a really short sentence, which is bad form, bad style. You don't throw a huge clump of text at someone and then not use it. You know what I'm saying? Like a really clipped short sentence after a block quote. It's like saying to your reader, here's some junk I found, here's what it is, you know, you should have got it on your own kind of a thing. It's not very helpful. So if you choose to ever give a block quote, you got to follow it up with ample discussion, because presumably there was something there that you wanted us to see. There were plagiarism problems. Absolutely, there were plagiarism problems in the paragraphs I've just read, particularly in regards to folks who didn't use signal phrases to tell me that they were using the Paulson source, and you didn't use in-text documentation to do the same. And it takes both of those things in combination. You don't just give one of them, all right? So in particular, people plagiarized in the paraphrase prompt quite a bit. It's like they copy pasted what they wanted, they put it on their document, and then they just changed it minimally or not at all. So I'll let you know if you plagiarized, okay? So make sure you look at your feedback from me this week when you see the feedback I posted on your writing. There were all kinds of other source abuses too. There were sources used inaccurately where what you wrote after the quote had nothing to do with the quote. And that's unfortunate, and it looks like that's a problem for people who didn't read the article very carefully. And again, the reverse outline, the intentions of that is so that you read it carefully enough, slowly enough, so that you don't misrepresent it, that you don't use it inaccurately or take something out of context. So that's just something that comes with time and focus and making sure you understand what you've read before you try to get it into the paper. I saw this quite a bit. As you can see, I said this is the biggest problem in 112, but it's a problem in 111, of course, where people just they don't give a signal phrase or set up a quote at all. You always have to have a signal phrase before the quote. Sometimes you can give it after the quote, but it typically looks awkward, so give it before the quote. Another problem is they didn't follow the quote with any discussion, which some of you did too. Another problem I saw in several of your papers was this one here, a blanket citation, where you give a citation at the very end of a paragraph and it's just like, hey, something in here came from my source, but I'm not going to be too exacting about that, and that's definitely not the way to be. So everyone could stand to reread this thing and I hope learn from it. But those Paulson exercises, by and large, illustrate a pretty predominantly, well, a problem. Let's just leave it at that. Okay. So just for kicks, I wanted to look at the models I provided. Now these were just direct quotes. I wish I had a model of the paraphrase or summary prompt executed properly, but I probably have something like that on file because I write in class with my face-to-face students. Anyway, it would look like the model on page 477 of that source we were just looking at. But your quote prompts needed to look something like this. You open up with a sentence or something, and then you integrate the source. You begin with a signal phrase, something like this. You don't have to give the article title. In fact, most of the time I recommend not doing so because it actually doesn't give the reader very much information. But letting the MLA wants the author's name, and in the case of this source, I would say give The Atlantic because it's one of the most popular magazines in America, and it has the stamp of quality for most people. So then there's your author's name and a verb, and then the full quote. And then I'm going to follow that up with some writing to break it down, to integrate, to discuss it. So a lot of people got this one wrong. they didn't provide a proper signal phrase. They said Paulson said this, but that's not true. Paulson didn't say it. It was the French bureaucrat Corinne Meyer. Now, I could have put her name in there, but I didn't think it was so necessary that my reader know that. The main thing is that you get the gist of who said it and where that particular quote can be found, or where you found it. So things aren't. Let's come back to this week while I got you on the video. Everybody needs to improve in that, and with every paper you write this semester, I'm going to be looking specifically for how you're doing with source use and documentation. So I'll be handling that on a case-by-case basis with all of you. And if you have questions about that sort of thing, you can always tack your question on to anything you submit. Let's take a look at what's up for this week. There's the quarter term exam. It is multiple choice, and students tend to do very well on it. It is timed, so take your time. And let's keep looking. The rest of the week, and that should take you like 20 minutes of this week. Like, it doesn't take long to take the test. The real focus of your week in terms of the work that you do should be this: getting accustomed to, I'm sorry, not accustomed to, but reading the assignment handout. It's up here, and all the supplemental information that's meant to help you with that. Because I want you to get off on the right foot. And if you're just clicking around and you read this stuff out of order, you're going to be confused. So just go 1, 2, 3, 4, and right down the line. And you'll see there's lots, hopefully, of helpful stuff here that's going to prepare you to submit a decent outline for a paper on this topic that I've chosen for you. So don't skip around this week at all. Be very linear and read it all. And you'll find that the assignment handout basically asks that you write about a specific thing, but within this broader field, you get to choose a focus, okay? And this focus needs to be a legitimate focus where you're giving me a wealth of information about a kind of an area, a single thing, okay? And this will make more sense when you read the stuff. But for the most part, I have found that when people submit their outlines, it's really broad, okay? And it's unfocused. So let's look at this one real quick, just because. What I've got here is a whole bunch of outlines that I've developed based on looking at other students' writing over the years. And even though I showed people that, hey, this is the worst way to do this paper, and this is a terrible way to do it, and this is an obviously unfocused outline, I still will get these every semester, even though I pointed out in a video like this one here. So just know that this is not what I'm looking for, but in a class of 22 people, I'm willing to bet 12 of you give me something like this. But by all means, please make my heart glad and prove me wrong. All right. This is just a step slightly above this one. So what you're looking for is the yellow, and you want something that's kind of like this, but not this specifically. I don't want anybody to make this your focus, because that would mean I'd written your outline for you, and that's a problem I want you to work through on your own. So this week, before Wednesday night, you're going to submit your outline for your paper here, and by the end of the week, you'll write your first 300 words. Now, this first writing assignment is a very short one. I mean, it's like 650, 750 words. So that's why it has to be such a focused discussion, or else you're just saying super obvious blah 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 stuff. And that's about all I got. And I didn't intend to go on and on, but I did want to check in and tell you how you guys were doing on source use, and to just kind of take a glance at the week coming up. So good luck as you choose and narrow down your focus for this first paper. And I will be reading your outlines on maybe Thursday, maybe Friday.